Hello friends. Your friend Ross greets you. Today I will tell you the story of the Siamese twins. Once there were two conjoined brothers, James and Jacob, who lived in a forgotten town in the middle of nowhere. They had a strange condition, sharing the same body but having separate heads and personalities. The two brothers had a future ahead of them. Their father was a doctor respected by the community, and their mother Eleanor came from a good family. She was a very elegant and beautiful woman. It was a young marriage. They had married in love. The doctor loved his wife very much, but nevertheless he was very ambitious and wanted to be recognized in his work environment, so he dedicated most of his time to his work. They lived in a mansion in the middle of the forest, where they had several servants at their disposal. The doctor worked on different military projects in his laboratory that he built in the basement of his mansion, in order to work for several hours or days without being interrupted. The doctor had access to various research and secret government formulas, and began working on a personal project, to create super strong men and more developed than the average man. After some time doing experiments, the doctor made several final tests and thus created his own secret formula. He was sure it would be a success, so he thought it would be a good idea to give the formula to his wife Eleanor. With the idea in mind that he would have beautiful, healthy and strong twin sons, he would prove to everyone that he was a genius and it would be his big step into the scientific world and he would have the great recognition that he deserved. Thus, the doctor began to apply an injection to his wife Eleanor every month. When she asked him what these injections were for, he told her to trust him, since they were for babies to be born healthy and strong. Eleanor knew that her husband loved her and would not give her anything that would harm her or put the lives of her babies at risk, so she was calm, and she was happy and anxious to meet her firstborns. There were still a few weeks left before the scheduled day of the baby's birth. Eleanor had a lot of pain in her belly, and she was bleeding a lot. That's when her water broke, so they immediately called the midwife, who arrived quickly with two nurses to assist her in childbirth. Eleanor went into labor and the babies were born, but there was only one body with two heads. They were all horrified. The midwife showed her babies to the mother, but she died minutes before, since the babies had eaten their mother from the inside. The midwife immediately called the doctor who was in his laboratory in the basement, and when he arrived, the first thing he saw was the babies he had created, and he wanted to apologize to Eleanor, but when he saw her he saw that she was dead, and that the babies had eaten her from the inside. The doctor went crazy and ran everyone from the mansion, the midwife, the nurses and all his servants. He wanted to be alone, and after cursing and crying for a while, he took his own life next to his beloved wife Eleanor. The babies ate the meat of their parents, and when it was finished, they left the mansion, and began to hunt around, and so they killed animals for their livelihood. As time passed, the children grew older. They learned to read by themselves the books that their father had in the library, and they saw two blue rooms with the names James and Jacob. They lived secluded in their mansion away from society. One day when they went hunting they found a pig, but they decided not to eat it, and since they were alone, the pig would be their only companion, so it became their only pet that accompanied the brothers to everywhere. Over time that elegant mansion was deteriorating. It looked more and more old and in ruins, so it was a bit creepy. They had the basic supplies of light and water, thanks to the good structure with solar panels, and the water came from a nearby river. One day, a young woman named Sarah got lost while driving through the woods and unknowingly stumbled upon their hideout. She knocked on the door, hoping to find help, but the brothers dragged her inside and tied her up. The brothers were fascinated by Sarah's body and decided to use her as an experiment. They opened up her chest and watched her blood flow, then tasted it, relishing the metallic flavor. James's head was fascinated by her face, and Jacob's entertained thoughts of using her limbs as their own. Days went by, and Sarah's screams echoed through the dilapidated mansion, but no one heard her. The brothers enjoyed their new toy until she was no longer useful, and they disposed of the remains by feeding them to their only companion, their pet pig. Later that week, another woman wandered into the woods and was captured by the brothers. They continued their experiments and tasted every inch of her flesh. As time passed, more and more women disappeared, and the brothers had their fill of human flesh. One day, a group of hunters ventured into the woods and stumbled upon the brothers' hideout. They barged in, guns blazing, determined to put an end to the horror. However, the brothers had grown cunning over the years and fought back ferociously, protecting their home. The ensuing battle was brutal, and the hunters were quickly overwhelmed. In the end, only one man survived, a young boy who stumbled upon the battle by accident. The brothers had captured him, and he was now their newest experiment. Years went by, and the brothers continued their grotesque practices, adding more horrors to their repertoire. They danced around their mansion, covered in the blood of their victims, and the townfolk cowered in fear, never daring to venture near. Eventually, the brothers died, their bodies decaying in their mansion, but the horror they had inflicted on that forgotten town never faded. The memory of the two conjoined brothers will always endure, haunting the nightmares of those who dare to remember. This has been all for today. I hope you liked it. I send good wishes to all. Just as bad vibrations are transmitted, good energies are also shared. That's why I hope everyone is well, and I also await your comments so that I can improve the content of the channel and so be to your liking. Her friend Ross says goodbye. Until next time, friends.